Hey everyone, I'm Laura Gdenik. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the therapeutic astrology for the weeks of March 9th through the 22nd, 2026. So, starting on Tuesday, the 10th, we have Venus making a sextile to Pluto. Venus is love, relationships, beauty, expression, creativity, style. Pluto is what's beneath the surface, what has been hidden or what needs to be brought out into the light. And so this might be a moment where you get to look at relational dynamics that need to shift or change or things that might not be working. It's a time to have a deeper look at what's going on in a relationship, to understand something better, understand maybe what's happening in a conflict or argument, or just in your relationship in general. This transit can feel a little bit intense because Pluto is intense. However, the sextile energy is easeful. It's an easeful aspect, unlike a square or an opposition, which are really harsh and intense and can be a little bit more dramatic. We're digging things up. We're investigating. We might also be investigating beauty standards or ideals we hold for ourselves, or ways that we want to express ourselves stylistically, what sort of art you feel impassioned or excited to express or create. That might be part of this transit. We also have Jupiter stationing direct on this day at 15 degrees of Cancer. Jupiter is a planet about abundance, hope, togetherness, healing, collectivism, and it's in the family sign of Cancer, which is a sign about care, a sign about the family. How can we create a sense of belonging? And so with Jupiter stationing direct in Cancer, moving, it's going to stay in this position for maybe about a month before slowly moving forwards. Our systems of care might see some improvements generally. Wherever this is happening in your chart, you might notice a sense of moving forwards and integrating what you've been reflecting on over the last couple of months with regards to, once again, things around care, family, emotional health or emotional expression. That's Cancer as well. Whatever house you have Cancer in, those themes and those topics, it's likely you'll be moving forwards in those areas of life, and things will start coming together a bit more. Jupiter really brings a sense of cohesion and togetherness and integration, and it's a very positive, optimistic, opportunistic, abundant planet. And so you might even notice some more abundance flowing to the part of your chart that contains Cancer as Jupiter starts to move forwards. So pretty exciting moment here. On Sunday, the 15th, we have Mars in Pisces coming into a conjunction with Mercury retrograde in Pisces. This is a moment to be a little bit more careful with. Mars has punch. It's the god of war. It's the soldier. And Mercury is communication. Mercury is our words, how we speak. So this could put a punch to our words, which, Mercury retrograde is a little messy at the moment. Not only is Mercury retrograde always messy and there are always miscommunications, but Mercury in Pisces in particular is just sludgy. Mercury does not do its best job in the sign of Pisces. Mercury wants to refine, be detail-oriented, be clear, and Pisces is kind of the opposite archetype. So Mars coming into conjunction with Mercury retrograde, there's more of an intensity to our words and to our language. It might be good in the sense that you finally are able to say something or speak out against something, or maybe speak your truth regarding something, regarding a topic. Whatever you've been reflecting on and mulling over with this Mercury retrograde in Pisces, Mars coming into join Mercury brings a moment of courage where you can maybe talk about or express what you've been mulling over, what you've been reflecting on. But definitely still expect it to be a little bit messy. It might be a moment where you're expressing what you've been reflecting on, but you're like, but I still don't have answers. I'm still in this mode of review over what it is I need or want, or over what direction I want to go in. This is just where I'm at. Because Mercury is still retrograde. So something to watch out for. And when Mercury stations direct on Friday, the 20th, that's when we will start to move forwards with what we have been reviewing and reflecting on. We'll start to integrate our reflections and take actions, and we'll be done with the reflective review period, and we'll be using what we've reflected and reviewed on to make changes and to move forwards. So that's Friday the 20th. Before that, though, on Wednesday the 18th, we have Venus in Aries making a square to Jupiter in Cancer. There's also a new moon on this day in Pisces, the first lunation that's not an eclipse. Whew, thank goodness, because eclipse season was pretty wild, pretty intense. And we also have a Sun sextile Uranus on this day. So Venus in Aries making a square to Jupiter. These are the two benefic planets coming together. These are planets about joy, community, celebration, opportunity, abundance, ease, social connectedness. Even in the square aspect, which is a little bit more of a challenging aspect, or a challenging way that the planets relate to each other, that it essentially is what an aspect is a way that the planets relate to each other. There's still this kind of like celebratory community moment. The one thing to be mindful of with a square between two benefic planets is the potential tendency to overdo something. I'm thinking like overindulge, overspend, like drink a little bit too much in the moment of joy that you're experiencing with others. But if you're someone who is normally reserved, or you hold back a little bit, it's like, it's a time to let loose. It kind of just depends on where you're at in your own journey and what feels best for you. But there is just that chance of overindulgence, and that could be just fine. But if you're on a budget, I would pay attention to that day. We also have a new moon in Pisces this day, like I mentioned. This is the first non-eclipse lunation. So we are having a new monthly beginning in the part of our chart that contains Pisces. New moons are also, so they're seeding moments, and this is a good time to set intentions around what you want to see grow with regards to the topics where you have Pisces in your chart. So if you know what your chart is, what your rising sign is, you'll know where Pisces is and the themes there. And then we have a Sun sextile Uranus, and this is a moment of authenticity. This is a moment to ask yourself, what feels good? In what ways have I not been expressing myself? In what ways have I been maybe holding back? Or in what ways do I want to change how I'm expressing myself? Uranus is about authenticity and change and, making shifts. And this might be a moment where you ask yourself, how can I express myself more fully? Or try on something, try on a new quality. The sun does represent us, our sense of self, our light, how we shine in the world. And so it's like, how can I try on a different attitude, a different outlook, a different way of being, and express that to the world? Excuse me. Like I mentioned, Friday the 20th, Mercury stations direct. We're still in a little bit of a messy communication moment here as Mercury takes some time to start moving forwards. And it is an important time. Maybe for about a week, Mercury will be in the same place in the sky, just standing still. And so it is still a reflective time. It's still a time to pause. Where do I want to go from here with all this new information I've been given? How do I want to proceed? What feels right? And things can still be a little bit sludgy, a little bit messy, a little bit murky still, as Mercury is still in the sign of Pisces, but we are finally moving forward and starting to integrate what we've been reviewing. The sun also heads into Aries on this day on Friday the 20th, which is the beginning of spring, very exciting moment. We are out of the, watery, compassionate, moody, emotional sign of Pisces and into fiery, exciting, passionate Aries. And, as the sun heads into Aries, it's going to make that conjunction with Neptune. That'll be on the 22nd, and then it'll also eventually conjoin with Saturn, I think on Monday the 23rd. But before we get there, on Saturday the 21st, we'll have Mars in Pisces making a trine to Jupiter in Cancer, who just recently stationed direct. Mars is our energy, how we take action, how we do things. And once again, Jupiter is a planet about abundance, opportunity, confidence, outlook, perspective. And in the sign of Cancer, we're really thinking about expanding our sense of care, expanding the way that we care for each other, care for others. And with Mars coming into this trine with Jupiter in Cancer, it's really a courageous moment. It's a moment to take action for compassionate or creative actions. So, maybe this is like a moment where you volunteer somewhere, or a moment where you decide to take action on this thing that's going to expand this area of your life. There's lots of energy for action. There's lots of confidence on this day, which is really lovely. And it's likely that things will work out in your favor because of that trine. It won't be too much. It won't be overwhelming as much as maybe a square or an opposition might be. And then, like I mentioned before, Sunday the 22nd, we have the sun conjoining Neptune in the sign of Aries. Once again, the sun is our vitality, it's our energy, it's our chi, it's who we are. Neptune is the dream, the vision, the inspiration. And with this conjunction, we have a dreamy moment where we're filled with vision, ideals, and what we long for. And in the sign of Aries, a Mars-ruled sign, Mars being the planet about action, we have the initiative to act. We have the energy to act. We're not, we're motivated. We're more motivated than we were before. And then as the sun joins up with Saturn the next day, Saturn helps us clarify, okay, what will it take to achieve this vision? What will it take to get from A to B to C? And also, what's not realistic? What about this dream can we shave off or slim down to get the best of the best? And that's what Saturn really wants us to get, is the bones of what actually matters. So that's the astrology for the next couple of weeks. I hope this was useful. Please reach out with questions, comments. I'm open for consultations if you're curious about how this astrology impacts you more particularly. Otherwise, I'll be back soon with another astrological update, and I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. Take care.